Today we're driving the 2020 Hyundai Elantra Limited. The MSRP on this car is $22,800. We have the Ultimate package, which includes the 8-inch navigation display, a power sunroof, forward collision avoidance, smart cruise control, and a couple of other features. New for 2020 is a CVT. This Elantra has a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that makes 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. We have 17-inch alloy wheels, and the Elantra achieves 34 miles to the gallon combined city highway, with 30 in the city, 40 on the highway. We get Hyundai's 5-year, 60,000-mile new vehicle warranty and their 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. I haven't driven a new Elantra yet, so it'll be interesting to get behind the wheel and see what this thing is like on the road. I still think this represents pretty good value in the compact sedan market. Let's go for a drive. You always have the most pleasant startup chimes in Hyundais. Everything in here is pretty familiar. A lot of the materials, the plastics, the buttons, the knobs, the switches. Even though we have a slightly updated exterior design, the inside of this Elantra is very standard Hyundai. The steering wheel has a nice leather. Your touch points are good, but everything else in the car is a little bit plasticky, a little bit cheap. I do like the design on this dash though. And we have some checkered flags on the analog gauges. You can see there the CVT simulates shifts a little bit. So far, it's a pretty good transmission. Seems to be responsive. Pulls surprisingly hard for only 147 horsepower. Doesn't exhibit a lot of characteristics of that typical CVT rubber band effect. You know, come to think of it, I haven't really driven a CVT that has that rubber band effect in a few years. I think most manufacturers have pretty much done away with those, which is always a good, welcome change in the industry. I'd say handling from this Elantra is pretty average. This is a lightweight car, about 2,800 pounds, so there are some inherent advantages from just the packaging here. I've always found these cars really easy to live with, incredibly fuel efficient. All week I've been averaging about 35 to 37 miles to the gallon in this. I love the placement of all the buttons and the ergonomics. While we're here, let's do a little 0 to 60 test. We'll put it into sport, turn traction control off, and hit it. Not quite any wheel spin off the line, but still a pretty peppy start for a CVT. Got our lane keep assist there telling us we're straying offline. It's a little bit of whirring away from the drivetrain when you're in full throttle. But honestly, the character of this transmission and engine is pretty good most of the time. I'd say when you're driving this 99% of the time. You don't really miss the fact that this isn't a traditional torque converter automatic. You do gain smoothness and fuel efficiency with the CVT. And I will say the simulated shifts are pretty convincing. I have really nice visibility, pretty low lines here from the door and the dashboard, with good visibility out of the sides and back. Like all Hyundais, cruise control, easy to operate, one-hand system over here. You can easily change following distance, set your speed in 1 mile or 5 mile an hour increments. You can even turn on lane keep assist very easily from the side here. And that is a pretty good system that works quite well. It's not perfect around corners and really should only be used in a pinch on the highway. But I like how you can easily turn that on and off with a button to the left there. If one line goes away on one side of the road, it won't quite follow the road's path, but again, with these systems, you want to remain vigilant. Rear guided cruise control does work pretty nicely, though. It's a smooth system. It's not as good as Ford's that I was testing a couple weeks ago, where the second you turn on your turn signal to merge over, it'll start accelerating, but it's pretty responsive. It's not, you don't feel like you're holding up traffic or anything when you're using it, and it seems to do a nice job blending speed differentials and following distances and stuff like that. While we're stuck behind these cars, let's do a little sound test. Go into our music, turn on our track. This isn't really a car that takes kindly to being hustled hard around corners. The handling is okay. There's a decent amount of grip. You're mostly kind of limited by your tires. Though it is a lightweight car, it's got a good amount of mechanical grip and it is agile. But this is not the GT that would be a little bit sportier. I think overall this is about right for what we've come to expect from Hyundai the last few years. It's amazing how much more refinement has made its way into this segment. We have cars like the Mazda 3 now that are almost luxury trim, that have luxury trim levels of this compact sedan segment, and this is maybe not as nice to be in and to live with, but there is a usability and a functionality here, great levels of NVH, and overall it's just a really nice driving experience that's very, very pleasant to live with and fuel efficient, cheap to own, maintain, and run. While we're here, let's hit this entrance ramp, see how she handles. Decent sound system. Like I said, this has all the features and qualities that we have expected from Hyundai recently, and they're doing a nice job with their lineup. this Elantra is no exception. It's a little bit of a shame that they've gotten rid of the manual transmission and replaced it with a CVT, but I mean, this isn't exactly an enthusiast car. If you do want a manual, there are plenty of great manual options from Hyundai, like the Elantra GT and the Veloster, the Veloster N. If you want something sporty, go for those. But if you want a little bit more of a affordable and efficient vehicle, this Elantra is a pretty good choice, and you kind of can't go wrong. So that's it. This is going to be a quick video. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Charlie's going to be filming some stuff for Winding Road this week. We'll do a POV test drive and a POV night drive on this car, so you can see it in the day and in the dark. Other than that, I think that'll wrap it up for this one. Thanks again. We'll see you guys later.